3 months to the wedding.
I knew something bad has happened. But I never, ever said that it was death.
At that particular point in time, you went into shock. So,
Into shock.
by the time you came out of that shock, what did you do?
I cried, Back to the morgue incident. The morgue attendants were like, wow, this is miracle. So they had to they had to take him out of the morgue and place him by the side of the wall in the corner. That if he wakes up, I was so still for hours. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I was perplexed. I can't even describe that situation.
Hi everybody, welcome again to my channel. The Lord has so many things in store for you. So today's video, we're going to be talking about an interesting topic. So what now happened?
Let's get right into it. Today we have a wonderful guest.
Yes, hello everyone. I am Owolabi Ruth. Damilola by name. I work remotely from home. Yeah, that's a bit about me.
Thank you so much. So I saw your story, and I reached out to you, and I want to say thank you so much for being super receptive and willing to share with us today. I trust that we're going to learn a lot. We're going to definitely be blessed as well. So let's just get right into it, right? So can you just tell me about like how you met the brother, how it started? Just let's start with that.
Okay, we started being friends on social media 2013 and finally we became friends physically.
Yeah.
2015. We're very close. We're very close friends. I mostly confide in him. He confides in me. And just a normal. It was just a normal thing. Yeah. Thank you.
That's amazing. So how did it then transition from friendship to getting married?
Oh, okay. I was summoned by the marriage committee to come for a meeting with them, and I was actually shocked. I was like, these brothers have they started again. I actually already made up my mind before even getting there that I'll tell them I am not ready. On getting there, pastor tried to cajole me, tried to encourage me. He first asked me, am I ready for marriage? I said, no. Right now, my plan is to get my PhD done before going into marriage. So he was like, okay, I understand your part, but I just want to encourage you to know, do you know how to wait on God? Do you know how to, do you hear from God? I told him no. He tried to, he opened my eyes to a lot, but I really appreciated that because it really helped me later.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I left with telling them I was not ready. So I don't know what happened, transpired between them and the brother. Later on, the brother called me. That's my friend. He called me and said he wanted to see me. And on seeing him, I saw him on a suit. I was like, this is not normal. This is not normal. I've never seen him on a suit except he's going to church. I was like, why are you on a suit? Are you going on a date? I was even trying to, are we going on a date? I was trying to pull his leg because sometimes like I'm very naughty.
Yeah.
I was trying to pull his leg. He was just laughing all through. And I never knew that I was seeing the right thing. He just told me, okay, can we just go to a particular place where we can talk? I said, no, let's talk here. Let's talk here. I don't like that. I don't like that. He was like, okay, then are you comfortable here? I said, it was on the road, on the streets. I was like, yeah, fine, I'm fine here. So he popped the question, do you marry me? I was like, marriage? Are you serious? I was even joking. Are you serious or you're pulling a prank? He said, no, that is serious. Then I realized he's dead serious. I said, no. He said, just pray about it. I said, no, I don't need to pray about it. Right now, no. No. So then later after 3 years, 2 to 3 years, I was getting serious.
Yeah.
I was getting serious. Like, wow, you have to start getting serious for marriage. And like, then suddenly I saw him online. He was online. I just, in fact, I don't know what made me go to his profile, because I told him we were not talking, we were not friends again. In
Yeah.
fact, so that I just wanted him to heal. That was my that was the reason behind me telling him I don't want to be friends with him again. I just went on Facebook. I messaged him. He was so happy. he was he was so glad I messaged him. I messaged him. I was like, wow, you're abroad. Where are you? He told me Australia. I said, wow, that's good. Then he now asked me about my traveling plans. I told him. Then he started giving me ideas. We started talking back. He helped me with the traveling plan, helped me with applying for scholarships. So eventually I got a scholarship. Later on, I just prayed. I know what I do, but the reason I knew was the one. My visa to India was very tough. Before I got it, was very tough for me. I went to the embassy like severally. Then on getting, there was a day I just gave up. I was not doing it again. Then he encouraged me to go to Abuja to try it out, Abuja. Then I went to Abuja. In the room that day, I said, Father, if this is really your will, if this man is really your will for me, let them issue this visa. So I eventually got the visa. I eventually got that. That was when I knew that, yes, this is God. And I said yes to him.
Oh. And I'm sure he was like super excited, elated, right?
In fact, it was like eventually. But it was for a reason. I knew our coming together was for a reason. And that reason is best known to me. It's kind of, it shouldn't be said outside. Yeah. So later I started the plans. I did my introduction before traveling. And we started our marriage plans, started buying things. Yeah. And yeah, that was it.
So you said yes, you did your introduction, and you then traveled to India.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and he was in Australia at that particular point in time. So
Yes.
courtship has started,
Yeah.
more purposeful discussion now had started. You started buying things, and it was almost time for the wedding. 3 months to the wedding. So what happened?
Yeah, that very night we had our normal prayers. We went to work. India to Australia is 4 hours 30 minutes. So you went to work. I had to sleep. Then on waking up in the morning, I had my plans to go to Delhi for a break, and he had a friend over there, a lady who was to come to India for break. So he already sent her some things to me to give me as a gift, and I was also planning to send a gift back to him through the lady. So that day I noticed he didn't call me. I was like, this has never happened. My spirit was not settled. I was telling my roommates, Victoria, this guy didn't call me. What is happening? He said, all will be well that I should. But I was so troubled. Then at around 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the night, the friend sent a link to me telling me, please, I'm so sorry, Ruth. Go through the link and read the story. I knew something bad has happened. But I never ever said that it was death. And oh my God, when I click on the link and I read the story, it was the first line I read, and I knew, yes, this is it. I went into shock for almost 2 hours. I couldn't cry. It was my roommate that read the remaining. I told her, continue to read it. She said, no, don't let me read it. I said, just read it. And she read it to my ears. I was like, oh. The details then made me realize that it was the one. Father, my hand has gone. The world is crashing on me. I just lied on the floor, flat down, and I was just there for hours. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I was perplexed. I can't even describe that situation. Yeah.
Like, it's something nobody ever prays for, right? And then
yes.
At that particular point in time, you went into shock. So
Into shock.
By the time you came out of that shock, what did you do?
I cried, In fact, my roommate had to call my mom just to break the news to her so that she would at least comfort me. When she told my mom just ended the call.
Because that's not the
She was
kind
the one
of
that broke the
anybody prays to receive, right?
no. She was even cooking. She told me she had to drop the spoon, go into the room, and she was shocked. She could not do anything at that point. She was shaking. She was shaking from her head down to her clothes. She had to sit down, and she was the one that broke the news to her, to the wife's brother, to the sister's husband, and it was a terrible day. It was a very terrible. Throughout that night, I was just rolling in bed. I can't even describe. I was like, no, but I never realized it's reality. I was like, no, this is a dream. That by tomorrow I'm going to hear good news. That he has woken up. This is a dream. I tried reaching all his friends. They were like, it's true, Ruth. I said, no, it's a dream. It's a dream. No, I don't want to believe this.
So, what exactly happened to him? Because you said you just had prayers that morning, right? Together.
Yes.
You had your devotion together. So, what happened?
He was going to school. No, he was going to work. So his friend, that is Indian friend that was coming back home, called him while driving.
Okay.
And was telling him to help her complete his assignment. So he was trying to tell her that I don't do that. Was trying to explain to her that he doesn't do that, that she has to do it herself and send it to him, then he can help with the
So,
submission. So she said that was all she had. And she had the screeching of a tire. From the story, I heard that he was trying to come out from a T junction, and then I think a big truck was coming, and suddenly he lost control, and the car somersaulted into the bush. On trying to get him out, he went on cardiac arrest. The paramedicals came to try to resuscitate him, but alas, he didn't come back.
wow. I'm really, really sorry that you had to go through that as a young lady 3 months to your wedding, right?
Yes.
For you, when you received that news, that felt like this is a dream. So by the time you realize that it's no longer a dream, it's reality, what did you do?
Yeah. I had to call my mom. I told her, Mom, I believe Emmanuel will wake up. Because I'm not yet going to agree with that. I'm not agreeing with that he's dead, that he has to wake up. And she was like, just accept. She didn't want to, she wanted to agree with everything I say, but she was trying to tell me, I said no. I said, please call our pastor. So she tried calling him, and later, I think he was busy. Then he called back, and she explained everything to him, and he had already been transferred to the morgue. He connected with his pastor over there. Fortunately, his pastor is a doctor. So they connected via Zoom, had prayers at first before going to the morgue. And getting to the morgue, they all the long process of getting someone out of the morgue because they just want to pray, Our own thinking, there is a perspective here is different from theirs.
Yes.
So he was giving me the feedback. So when they got to the morgue, they threw him out and they prayed for him. They prayed for him, and the doctor confirmed that he was sweating seriously. And in the morgue, it's always cold. It's a cold room. He was sweating his palms. He was sweating his forehead. He was sweating his palms. A body that has been there for 3 days, a dead body that has been there for 3 days, was sweating. And I think he was struggling. He didn't want to come back actually. And before then, he used to tell me a word. Will I say a word or a sentence? A word, yeah. He used to tell me that, Ruth, if I'm gone, I want you to be happy. I was like,
be like, you're not going.
I was like, don't say that again. I'm going to die before you, but before I die, I'll grow old. So definitely, so if I die before you, we have to go home. He said that sometimes he repeats it like he knows what he's saying, like he knew he was going to die. And it was a few months after that the thing happened, there's power in the tongue, you know. Then back to the morgue incident. The morgue attendants were like, wow, this is miracle. So they had to they had to take him out of the morgue and place him by the side of the wall in the near corner. That if he wakes up. So the doctor, I don't want to mention his name, waited there for some time if he would come back. But he did not. But he was still there sweating. He was still there sweating. He didn't want to come back, you know. And I later had some people telling me that I should just release him because some prayer warriors prayed about it, there's some vision. And it doesn't want that I should just forget about it. I said, no, he has to come back. My pastor later called me and told me I should forget about it. I should let him go and rest. I should forget about him, that the Lord will give me another person. But no, it was not easy to let go.
How long did it take to let go or to heal?
2 solid good years. I so much held to my heart dearly all the gifts he gave me. My pastor's wife called me to let's go to church, the way to burn it. I said no, it's not easy to. I can't. Told me to burn the clothes, the top, the books he bought for me, the wristwatch. In fact, but I held it on so dearly. I was like, no, this is the last of him that I can use to remember him, that I'm not going to let go. It was tough. It was tough to let go.
Wow. So I mean I totally I can see why it would be very hard to let go. Well, how did you cope? Tell me about that experience after coming to terms with this person may not come back. What changed about you in terms of a relationship with God or just generally?
Yeah, actually, God wanted to use that situation to bring me closer to Him.
Mm,
I, I later realized my mistakes. I told God that, God, I'm sorry. I'm not the kind of person that commits sin, but I know that there are still some things in me that is not right with God.
mm,
So I had to surrender that very day. I know it was sanctification I needed.
mm,
So I had to ask for sanctification. And it was that same day I was baptized through Hallelujah Challenge by Nathaniel Bassi. I spoke in tongues. The Holy Spirit knew I needed a comfort. So he
mm,
sent me the comforter to
mm,
comfort me. And from then henceforth, I began to, in fact, I prayed like I'd never prayed before. I, I pray so much that sometimes I don't see myself flying in the air, being, I don't know how to put it. It's like I'm being transported from one place to another in the spirit. I so much pray to the extent that, you know, within me, I wanted to pray for him to rise up. So God knew that if He made me pray in my language, in the language I understand, I will praying for that, of which that is not His own plan. It was not
mm,
His own plan for my life. So He made me speak in tongues throughout. I've been so strong with that. No, God, I want to speak in the language I understand. But suddenly I would just change. My tongue would just change. I would start blasting in tongues, praying, all sorts. And I became so keen with God. Thank God for my pastor then, Pastor Mary. I don't think he will have anything against me mentioning his name. They are white, so they don't say anything bad in it. So thank God for him, Pastor Mary Pongen and his wife, Lina Pongen. They really helped me to heal, after I shared that day in church, I was just led to go to the wife and share. She just came to me and said, Ruth, are you fine? Are you okay? Because they see the way I pray in church, I cry. They knew something is going on. So she came to me, walked up to me and tried to ask some questions from me, of which I told her. And the funniest thing is that when you are trying not to get healed, you don't share things about yourself to people. You don't. You just bottle everything up. I never shared with anyone. Only my roommates knew about it. I never opened my mouth to tell anyone except my parents and my roommates. So that day, I just saw myself opening up. I knew an healing process already taking place. I opened up to her. She now called me. She hugged me. She prayed for me. She said, "Wow, we didn't know you went through this phase." So she now told me that she saw the wristwatch on my hand. She's a playful person. She said, "Is it from me?" I said, "Yes, of course. I think you should throw it away, sister. I think you should throw it away." I said, "True, true, yeah. What other things do you have of him left with you?" I told her. She said, she gave me a story about a friend that I need to throw it away to get healed. And it was, I was like, it was a bad advice to me then. I just,
You're looking for how to
I
hold on
just,
to it. Someone is saying you should let go. You should go and throw everything.
I was like, no, no. And she was just trying to help me, which I didn't know that back then. So I made sure I didn't let go. But do you know what? The reason what I had scared to me was the first one I misplayed. I tried remembering where I placed it. I tried remembering where I went to. That I forgot it. Where I forgot it. I was just trying my best. Cracked my brain. Till now, I don't know where I placed it. And a book he gave me by Tim Lane, Spirit Controlled Mind. Is it Spirit Controlled? Spirit Controlled, yeah.
Control temperament, I think.
Temperament, yeah. I borrowed someone in church, and the person, he saw him returning it, he didn't return it for long. The very day he wanted to return it, that was when he forgot it in the Uber. He tried he tried running after the Uber man, but he was faster than him. So I had to forget that. That was why I lost everything he gave me. And I was like, God, what is all this? But I never felt the pain like before. I knew that something was happening already. And eventually, with my praying in church, sometimes I pray in the spirit, prophesy. In fact, I was so keen to God. In fact, I loved God more than ever before. I got closer to, I knew that situation was for me to get closer to Him. And that has ever been the prayer of my mom. We are just two. So it has never been the prayer of the mom for the twins. And, I got closer to him. I was like, Ruth, is this the same you? And I was this kind of person that they would tell me that you're going to get married to a pastor. I said, God forbid. I just want to go to church. I don't want to go to church, live my normal life. I don't want to dedicate myself to anything. I just want to be myself, me and my God, just at the corner of my room. That's all. I was on fire for God, and God really, really changed my life. On the day of my total deliverance, I experienced God in another way. I was prayed for. I had a bad dream, and in the dream it was like I was held back to my past in the dream. So I didn't know the interpretation of the dream until that very day of prayers. That very day I was already moved to I was in fact I was already I was almost giving up. Like I gave up on myself because everything about me then was stagnant because I couldn't let go. My academics was just on a standstill. Everything about me was just on a standstill. I knew that something was wrong with me and I needed deliverance, but I don't know where and how it's going to happen. So that day I never wanted to go for prayers. I was like, I'm going home. That was the first time that will ever happen to me because whenever I hear prayers, I want to be there. I said I was not going. And immediately I got home, my flatmates were like they were not going, so they even encouraged me more. But suddenly I just stood up and I knew that I had to go. So I had to tell someone to follow me. When we got there, I could not pray. I could not even say a single word to God. From all the prayer points my pastor made, I could not say a single word to God. My heart was too heavy to even pray.
This is 2 years after, right? Almost 2 years
Yes,
after.
yes.
It was still
Almost 2
heavy.
years after. Yeah. So that day I just sat on the stairs and I told God, I said, Father, if you want me to let go, do it in a simple way that I won't be hurt. I can remember that prayer point. That was only the prayer point I made. That was only if I was only sentence I made throughout the 2 hours prayer. I did not pray. And I didn't know that God was doing something great for me. So our pastor asked, after the prayers, he asked, who has the prayer points? And he has never asked that. Who has a prayer point? I was like, no, I don't have. She made another point to pray on. They prayed. She now asked again, who has a prayer point? I said, I don't have. Then the Spirit of God told me to share my dream. I said, dream and prayer point. How does it coincide with each other? But I still shared, and immediately the two of them almost immediately said, Ruth, you are held to your past. They invited me out. They placed their hands on me. My sister, it was as if something just touched me from nowhere. I shouted, as in, I shouted, I screamed. I screamed. So, in fact, those people around were like, it's not the same person that was delivering us. So she had something inside of her. I saw their faces. They were like, what is happening here? I shouted, I screamed, I wailed. Then my pastor said, Ruth, you are releasing your bottled up pains. The pains you bottled up inside, deep down inside of you, it's getting released. Release it. Then I screamed, I wailed, Then when he saw that I felt I was okay, then that was when I knew I was feeling like a feather. In fact, it's not good to be changed down to the past. I felt so light, I felt so light. Then immediately the wife just placed her hands on my eyes. I was like, Father, please show Ruth what you have for her in the future. And she even had no intention of praying for future response. She was just praying for future. Then bam, I just saw a big white screen.